V0 is an AI agent created by Vercel, the company that also creates Next.js. And because Vercel is creating V0, it's extremely good at creating beautiful looking Next.js websites. Well, you won't be able to create a full application with just the front end, right? You obviously need a backend. So what do you use for backend? Supabase, of course. In this video, I'm gonna create a application using Supabase and V0 without writing any code and see what I can come up with. We're gonna be building a CRM, so create a CRM application. Create the contact list page where the information of the contacts are being displayed in a table. Let's see what it can generate for us. What I like about V0 is it starts writing the code and then it incrementally generates the UI for us. Yeah, we may have run into some errors, but it has a fix with V0 button that we can just press and see if it can fix it for us. So let's just try that. Another nice thing about V0 is a lot of the times these LLMs are trained on slightly older code, so they're not used to these new formats of, like for example, App Router. App Router is relatively new, but V0, I'm assuming Vercel, when they created this, they have made sure that it has all the context for these new technologies and all the content is up to date. It understands App Router really well, it understands Shadcn really well. All those good stuff works really great in V0. Okay, so we had 2 errors and now we're not getting any errors, but we're not getting any contacts. So let's dive into the code and see what is going on. So we have this create content table function, content table page, right? And then we have this, okay, so that's just the preview, right? Okay, so let's see, it seems like it's trying to create a bunch of content, but I guess the contacts passed to this create table function is, okay, so create, I guess contacts is empty, which is fine, I suppose. We can add some dummy contacts. Okay, so add, I don't know, 20 dummy contacts. Okay, hopefully it can display a nice looking UI. Now eventually we can take all these data into our Supabase database and have it dynamically load these contacts from our database. But for now, we just want to make sure the UI looks okay, so it looks okay. It's a bit vanilla, but I guess it gets the job done. So what I want to do here is I want to add a search bar so that I can use the Supabase's text search feature and be able to easily search the users. So let's see. Looks great. I always compliment AI, you know? You never know when they're gonna turn around on us, so be nice to them. I'm always nice to them, so looks great. Let's add a search bar where users can search for contacts. I've also read a paper somewhere that actually using nice language to large language model produces worse results. It produces more accurate results when you kind of, tell it to do without adding all these, fluff around it, like looks great or let's do this. Instead of doing that, I read somewhere that it's better to say do this, do that. But I don't know. It hurts me to do that in a way. So I can never do that. Anyway, it got rid of all the demo data. And now we have no contacts, which is fine. Okay, keep 3 demo users. Maybe 20 was too much that it was running into context limit and it just decided to get rid of them. but we need some context to actually view the UI. So, okay. So we are getting somewhere. It's good. Let's try it out if it works. Okay, so it's able to pick up, if I search Bob, Bob is returned. Great. That is actually awesome. Obviously, we can, work on improving the UI more, and the prompt that I've been giving it hasn't been great, but the fact that it's able to create this nice UI, and it actually behind the scenes uses Shadcn UI, Shadcn to construct this UI. So it's really amazing what it's able to do. It also has this add to codebase snippet that you can just paste it into your terminal and run it, and it'll install all the libraries that's required to run this application. It has like all the necessary Shadcn components and stuff, which is really awesome. A huge time saver. So my workflow has been just getting the basic design done in V0, copy everything over to Cursor and just run that command in Cursor and take care of everything. But today we're doing only V0. So we have a very basic UI, which is good enough. I haven't been putting too much effort into my prompts, but it was still able to get this. Now, here is the magic. We can add Supabase to this UI, and particularly I would like to add a search feature that actually goes into searching the database and returning all the results from the database. So let's do that. Let me be mean and intentionally have a very vague prompt. Add Supabase. Let's see what it can come up with. It would be amazing if it just magically, does its thing, but it's a bit of a amateur prompt. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so it's telling me instructions of yeah, these are the stuff that you actually need to install, which is great. It's using Supabase auth helpers Next.js, which is actually a deprecated library, so maybe there's something there. But can it do it? Okay, so obviously I need to, provide the Supabase credentials, which I haven't. But let's see what it returns. So it created a bunch of files. We have the context page, right? And it's complaining because we don't have the credentials, which is fair. Also has the context table. Wonder what the okay, yeah, so this is just a component. And we have this auth route. Okay, so that's required for authentication. We have a login screen. We have a layout. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's do that. So as of right now, I believe there isn't a way to pass the credentials to Visio. We're just gonna have to like literally copy and paste the credentials here, which is okay for prototyping if your Supabase project is, empty and stuff. But I understand that some people might not be comfortable with that, especially if you have some production application or even like a testing environment. And actually, Visio CEO said on Twitter that there will be a environment variable management system kind of built right into V0. It's coming soon. So for now, we're just gonna pass the Supabase credential. I have my Supabase project here, and we are going to pass this environment variable. So for the Supabase credential, use these. Oh shoot, I didn't pass the stop. Okay. So let's see what it can cook up for us now. Okay, I should have given it a better prompt. So let's go back. Let's go back to okay, so let's fork this. here are the Supabase credentials. Use these and also only use Supabase on the client side. No need to use server side rendering or the auth helpers. So the reason why I wanted to get rid of the auth helpers is because I just assume it wouldn't work well within Visio's context. It might actually work, but me personally, I'm not a huge fan of server-side rendering. I feel like it's a bit overrated, and there's nothing wrong with a single-page application. Everything on the client side, it works just fine. That's how mobile apps work, and me coming from a mobile app background, I feel like there's nothing wrong with just doing everything on the client side, just, no server-side render whatsoever. So, okay, it set up everything. I suppose at this point, we need a table, don't we? Loading context, and obviously it's not able to load the context because, well, I guess there's no context, so there's no context table. So, there are no context table, and we need to obviously create one. So, let me ask v0 to spit out the SQL statements to create the context table. Provide the SQL statements to create the table that is required to run the application. Let's see if it can do the job with this prompt. And usually when I do my actual job, I do put more context into my prompting. I just want to kind of, I guess in a way, push it to the boundaries, see how much it can do with poor prompting. And, if it can do a lot with poor prompting, then that's awesome, right? So, okay. Just with that, it created a context table. Let's ask it to create some dummy data. Write SQL to create 20 dummy contacts. If large language models didn't have the token limit, I would just create, 50, 100, 1000 dummy data, but I usually hit the limits when I go too extreme with the dummy data. So let's go with 20, which is more than enough. So I can just paste it into the SQL editor and highlight it, hit run. Everything went well. Let's see the contacts. We have all the contacts. Okay, so can we reload the page? Yes, we can. Okay, so it has loaded all the data. Great. Now, I wonder how the search context feature works. I'm assuming it just does its thing on the client side. Let's fix that. For the search bar, use the text search filter of Supabase.js to implement a search feature. Let's see if it can do the magic. I want this search bar to be an actual search bar that actually fetches the relevant content from the server. It's generating all the code. Handle delete. Handle search. Change. Set search term. Is it actually doing the search? On change handle search change, which calls this, which sets the search term. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's actually searching using the... Oh, it's doing something. Oh. Okay, so there's some kind of glitch when I type something. The something else gets chosen. So handle delete, it's not okay. Search term, fetch contacts, query if search term. What is it doing? Fetch contacts. This is right here, right? So if there is a search term, it uses the OR filter, which is kind of smart. Okay, so it searches through the email or phone or company or name. No. It does search for the name. Okay. So I guess this kinda doesn't really work, does it? It performs a text search on the name, but then it also filters it so that the search term is contained either in the email or phone or the company. So yeah, okay. In an actual scenario, if we want to implement a proper text search, we would probably create a generated column that contains all the columns that we want to search against. So a generated column that contains name, email, phone, and company, and then we can perform the search against that. For the sake of this video, I just wanna be cautious of the time, so let me just tell it to ignore all the columns that's not name and just focus on the name and perform the search there. Set search term is fine, but where is handle contacts being called? Handle delete, no. Okay, search term, there's a use effect on search term. So this is actually causing the trouble. As I type, I lose focus on the text box and, I have to keep clicking and typing. So let's change it. Let's change it to on submit so that only when I actually hit return on the text search box, it performs a search. So let's see. Only perform the search when the user submits the form of the text search field. Also, only perform search on the name of the contact and ignore everything else. I'd still say that's a pretty vague prompt. I could have been a lot clearer with what I'm saying, but according to my experience, Visio does a really good job with poor prompting. Perhaps the best job out of all the AI agent that I've interacted with. And I feel like the reason why it does such a good job is because there's probably whenever Visio actually makes a request to the large language models, whatever model that's being used behind the scenes, it's probably using a bunch of extra prompting to make sure the outcome is high quality. So let's see, Jane hit, okay, or press search, I guess. All the talk about high quality code, right? Let's see. Jane search does nothing. So where is the search button? It submits, right? On submit, handle search submit. Which takes, okay, fetches contacts with the search term. So the same thing, right? Fetch contacts. Search term is empty by default. If the search term is there, it performs a text search on the name. And it gets the data. If there's no error, it just sets the contact. Seems like it would work, right? Except, let's refresh. Jane. search. Seems like it would work. Handle submit. You have a form on submit. I don't know. Can we see the console? Doesn't look like anything's happening. Okay, you know what? Let's ask V0 to fix it. Because I can figure out why it's not working. So when the search button is pressed or return is hit within the search box, search isn't fired. Fix it. You can see that I'm getting a bit upset with the language, but no, it's okay. This is how it goes typically, you know. You have to kind of bump into these errors and let it fix itself, or sometimes you have to jump in and fix it, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so let's try it out. Jane, hit. Okay. I really have no idea what it fixed. Let's see if it says I replaced form component with a standard HTML form element. Maybe that's what it is. Whatever it is, it works. It seems like it's working. So if I just hit go back, let's see, Dan. Okay. Daniel. Works great. So yeah, this text search feature of Supabase is one of my favorite features, and it's literally just a filter that's called text search that you can see right here. You can pass the column name and the search term, and it just performs a search on the column. And you can configure it in a way that you can perform like a typical web search type of thing. There's a few different configurations that you can do with it, but it's really amazing, really easy to get started with. And I just thought it would be a fun opportunity to showcase that text search feature being used within V0. Well, not within V0, but like, application created by V0. Whatever the case is, I think we created a good enough demonstration of what you can do with V0 and Supabase, and I'm pretty happy with the results. We created a nice CRM where you can perform a search against things. I didn't really do anything with it, but you can edit things, delete things, maybe not edit, maybe a few prompts to get the edit button working, but yeah. Didn't take that long to connect V0 to Supabase. I obviously used a very poor prompting, and V0 was still able to come up with this, which is amazing. If you put a little more effort into your prompting, I'm sure V0 can do this in a few rounds rather than 6, 7 rounds or 10 rounds or so that I had to go through, probably more. So yeah, definitely do check out V0 and play around with V0 and Supabase and let me know what you are building.